By the time the lantern's small gold circle found her face on my porch, I had already decided Christmas was for other people, the kind who still believed someone might be walking toward them through the dark. Back then I was 26 and already felt used up. Folks in town called me cold-hearted when they had to, and a coward when they thought I couldn't hear. I lived in a leaning cabin beyond the last fence post, close enough to catch the church bell on clear nights, far enough that no one had to meet my eyes by accident. Inside, the place was cut down to the bone, one cot, one table, one cup, one plate, one chair I used and one I tried not to look at. When dusk folded over the hills, I lit my lantern and set it in the front window. Match, flare, wick catching, a small bloom of gold in cloudy glass, a stubborn little star pressed against the dark. Down in town, the bell tolled for Christmas service. I could see it without looking, women in bright shawls, men brushing snow from their shoulders, children racing toward warm doorways and sugared promises. Somewhere in that bright hum my name would still be moving, turned into a sharp little word that fit easily on anyone's tongue, coward. The story they loved was simple. A gunfight in front of the mercantile, a boy standing where no boy should be, and me diving for cover while braver men stepped forward. Truth was knotted and inconvenient, and rumor never cared. It carried the clean lie from porch to porch until even people who'd never seen my face could say exactly how I failed, with great confidence and wrong details, and no one bothered to ask me otherwise. After that, the town tightened around me. Conversations snapped shut when I stepped into the saloon. Cards were suddenly finished, glasses suddenly empty, doorways suddenly busy. Mothers shifted their children behind their skirts. Pastor Boone, who preached that every soul could be redeemed, let his gaze slide past me like I was smoke. It is a hard thing to stand among the living and feel less real than your own shadow. That evening, supper was thin stew and stale bread. I ate slowly, listening to the lantern hiss, feeling the empty chair across from me like an accusation. Once I had dragged it halfway toward the wall, determined to erase the shape of company from the room, but my chest seized and I set it right back. Some absences are easier to face than to hide. The first knock was so soft I thought the cabin itself had sighed. 3 light taps, then stillness. I held my breath. No rough pounding, no shouted joke, no hurried footsteps turning back down the path, only the low burn of the flame, the tick of my own heart, and the sense of someone standing on the other side of the wood, mustering courage. If it was a prank, there would have been laughter already. If it was danger, it would not have knocked. If it was Pastor Boone, he would have called my name. This was none of those things, only something smaller and more dangerous to a man who lived on habit, the chance that his life might widen again. I rose slowly, hearing each board complain under my boots. My shadow went long and crooked ahead of me. At the door, my palm closed around the iron latch. For a breath I almost left it shut. My world was narrow and bitter, but at least I knew its edges. Then I lifted the latch and opened the door. Night leaned in, sharp and cold. In its center stood a young native woman I knew only from distant glimpses in town, Nia Whitecloud, 25, shawl drawn tight, braids lightly frosted. She cradled a small tin against her chest as if it might break or save her. The lantern's glow spilled past my shoulder and caught her eyes, then slid to the empty road behind her and back again. Between us, the light held steady, as if it understood before I did that this night had come to change something I thought was finished for good. Nia stepped inside and shut the door herself, as if she knew my courage might not last. She set the tin on the table and stood still, shawl dripping at the edges, eyes searching every empty corner of the cabin. The lantern behind me threw her shadow long across the floor until it tangled with mine. "Cookies," she said softly. "For the church. These are left." She hesitated. "They don't know I came here." "Of course not," I said. "Cowards don't get Christmas visits on the official route." The joke tasted bitter even before it left my tongue that night. She sat only when I dragged the empty chair out for her, its legs scraped the boards like a warning. I poured coffee, and we ate in small, careful bites, the way people do when the food isn't the reason they're there. The town's distant hymn seeped through the walls. "They call you coward," she said finally, eyes on the tin. "I hear it every market day." I tried to smirk. "That the word they're selling this year?" "I don't buy it," she whispered. "Because I remember. I had not expected anyone to claim memory on my behalf again ever. You weren't there, I said, the old defense coming up before I could stop it. Nia shook her head. Behind a rain barrel by the mercantile, she answered. My father told me to wait. I saw the boy in the street. I saw you grab him and drag him down. Another man fired wild and ran. When the smoke cleared, you were alone and shaking so hard you dropped your hat. Her voice trembled. That's the picture in my head whenever they spit your name. It never matched the story they laughed over while buying sugar and bullets in town. If you knew that, I asked, why let their lie live this long? She studied her hands. Because after the gunfire, I heard the men, she said. In the back room of Briggs's store, my father, Pastor Boone, Mr. Briggs. They had a letter from the marshal. I heard your name and the boys. The letter praised you, said the gossip was false, said the real blame belonged elsewhere. My father folded it like something poisonous and hid it away. He told me one ruined cowboy was a cheap price for keeping our family untouched and mostly silent forevermore. Rage rose in me, sharp and clean. So he buried my name to save his own, I said. What about you? Nia opened the tin, pushed aside a folded cloth, and lifted out a thin yellowed envelope. My name looked strange on it, like it belonged to a better version of me. He hid it, she whispered, but I kept it. I found it after he died. I was 16 and already tired of begging this town for mercy. Every Christmas I meant to bring it to you, and every Christmas I lost courage and let you carry my guilt. The twist of it staggered me more than any bullet ever had. All the nameless, I blamed for years narrowed to this shaking woman in my chair. I took the envelope, the paper felt soft from handling and stiff from hiding. The marshal's words were plain, your actions saved the boy, rumors are false, this man deserves thanks. At the bottom, in crooked script, his parents had written, thank you for our son. The room blurred as the weight shifted. Across from me Nia bowed her head, braced for anger that did not quite arrive the way she expected. I ruined your life with my silence, she said. I won't ask you to forgive me. I just couldn't sing their hymns with this still hidden. The lantern hissed softly between us. You were a frightened girl in a cruel town, I answered. Grown men chose the lie. I chose to disappear. That ends now. I folded the letter and slipped it into my pocket. Tomorrow I'll read this in Briggs's store. Tonight, I added, setting a second plate, I refuse to eat alone. She smiled through tears and broke a cookie in half, offering me the larger piece first.